What up, guys? Your boy Quake back with a brand new episode of the Diverse Mentality Podcast, number 386. Man, I just want to say this because this is this is something that I always got to say now. It's stuck in my head. Kendrick just opened his mouth. Someone go hand him a Grammy right now. Where's your uncle at? Yeah, but you guys know why I'm saying that. Kendrick Lamar is, the Grammys just happened, and he has the most Grammys for a rapper ever now. He surpassed Jay-Z. No surprise, Rock Nation affiliates and Dr. Dre and all this other stuff. And the Grammys is just funny, man. I'm going to go over that a little bit later. It's such a funny place. It's basically just a bunch of rich people handing each other awards. That's it. That's all it is. And I would be saying the same thing if it was like, because I'll get into that a little bit later because I'm going to go on a whole rant and I'm going to do that a little bit later. First, I want to give you guys kind of updates. There is a documentary coming out in February. I know I've been saying this for a while and I haven't dropped a documentary since I think September or October. But finally, we're getting in a groove. I have something else I'm working on, which is going to be another documentary. And ironically, it's about the same, it's not the same documentary, but it's with the same artist. We didn't do that intentionally, but there is something going on where I'm working on a different brand that we're going to be launching that is with somebody else. And yeah, we're going to be launching on there as well. So technically, you guys are going to get 2 documentaries this month, but the one that's with the different brand is just my voice on it. I didn't do the script and I didn't do the editing. So on there, I don't really have to do a lot of work. They just give me a script, I record it, and that's it. I don't even do the research. I don't do the editing. I'm just on there as I don't know what the proper word would be. Consulter, I guess. I don't know. Somebody who's overseeing things and they want to use my voice for that brand. So that will come out. So it technically is another documentary for me, but it's not like my style, right? You'll notice it'll be a little bit different. And then mine obviously dropping. And then we got some other stuff, some exciting things happening behind the scenes as well. So I can't wait for that. So I know I've been saying this stuff, the documentaries are coming out. There's a lot of stuff, but just a lot of stuff behind the scenes happening. That's where I'm really working. And I feel bad for people that are supporting me on Patreon because I haven't released anything on there in a while. And, people are supporting me with $3 a month every month. And I haven't put anything out. So I really apologize. If you're on Patreon, support me. I really wholeheartedly appreciate you. I do have content coming. Trust me. Just trust the process. Give me at least a month or two. There's going to be a documentary come out this month, 100%. But just give me a month or two till I get these other things that are surrounding me figured out. And trust me, that Patreon support, you're going to love it because there's going to be so much cool things coming there that it's going to be like, you're going to be like, holy shit. As I'm working, I'm also going to do a clothing brand launch in the future. So all those people that support me on Patreon, you guys are going to get free, whatever selection that you guys want. I'm going to message all you guys and get some free stuff because you guys have been supporting, regardless of me dropping content on there or not. There's still been people there supporting every single month from $3 tier, $10 tier, $25 tier. They've all been supporting. So shout out to everybody that is there. Let's go to the news. There's a lot of interesting stuff from Epstein files to I had to record a lot of these separately, so you're going to see me in different clothes throughout the video if you're watching it on video because there's just so much stuff happening, and I want to record the news as quickly as possible instead of waiting on the podcast to do these full episodes and just record them then because we get way more views doing that, way more traction on social media, stuff like that when we actually record it within the couple of hours that the news is out. When we wait, it doesn't really perform that well. So the first news, it's sad news. Michael 500,000 or 5,000. I said 500,000, my bad. Michael 5,000 Watts has passed away at the age of 52. This is crazy because Michael Watts is the founder of Swishahouse. If you don't know who Swishahouse is, it's a label in Houston that basically founded some of the best Houston rappers. Basically from my childhood, Slim Thug, Paul Wall, Mike Jones, and I believe Chamillionaire was affiliated with them early, and then he kind of went and did his own thing with Universal Music Group. But let's go over this. Michael 5,000 Watts founded the Swishahouse label in Houston and was instrumental in Chopped and Screwed rise in hip-hop culture. Of the many folks hip-hop fans in the South and beyond can thank for innovating the Chopped and Screwed and bringing it to the mainstream, Swishahouse's DJ Michael 5,000 Watts is among the top names. Sadly, the culture is now mourning his passing at the age of 52 on Friday, January 30th. Watts' family confirmed it via Instagram statement that evening. Watts transitioned surrounded by loved ones. We truly appreciate the love shown to Michael throughout his career, and we ask for continued prayers as we navigate through this very hard journey, the statement read. Mr. Watts developed a fatal heart rhythm called torsatus de pointis, causing a sudden cardiac death. He leaves behind a wife, Tammy Watts, 5 beautiful kids, and 2 loving grandkids. His legacy and career started at the age of 14. He continued his success as a business owner, DJ, radio personality, founder and owner of Swisha House, and pillar in the community. A community event honoring his legacy will be announced in the coming days via Watts' official social media pages. Swisha House also issued a statement as caught by Fox 26 Houston, sharing how 5,000 Watts helped define the sound, spirit, and global influence of Houston hip-hop. Michael Watts was more than a founder. He was a movement. The statement reads, beyond the music, Michael Watts was a mentor, a cultural curator, and a builder of opportunity. He believed in ownership, creativity, and the power of storytelling through sound. Yeah, definitely, man. Artists like Paul Wall, DJ Paul, Juicy J, Slim Thug, Maxo Cream, Manello, and Drummer Boy took to social media with tributes. Michael Watts' influence on these artists and many more in ways big and small is indelible. For example, by launching Swisha House with OG Ron C in 1997, Watts helped the Chopped and Screwed to the hip-hop limelight. He was crucial to the careers of Wall, Thug, Chameleon, Mike Jones, and many more. So those are all the artists that I grew up on when it came to hip-hop as well, and not just Houston hip-hop, but hip-hop in general. So yeah, man, 52 is very young, very, very young. That's not really, the time that you want to be going. But it is what it is, man. He's made a huge impact in hip-hop and just in the world in general. At 52 is young, but at least he's impacted the world in a huge way. So rest in peace to Michael Watts, legend in hip-hop. Diddy is firing back, and he has filed a statement in the NBC lawsuit denying role in multiple deaths. So let's go over this. Diddy is still fighting his $100 million defamation lawsuit against NBC, claiming they spread false allegations and ruined his reputation via the Peacock documentary, Diddy, the Making of a Bad Boy. The lawsuit also targets Peacock TV and Ample Entertainment, along with NBC Universal Media. According to an exclusive report, he just filed a sworn statement open to penalty of perjury if it's proven to be untrue, which denies his involvement in many high-profile deaths and murders referenced in the documentary. I was not involved in the death of Kimberly Kim Porter. I was not involved in the murder of Christopher Wallace, Biggie Smalls, the statement in the filing reads. In addition to these references to his former partner and his former colleague, the Bad Boy mogul denied having anything to do with the deaths of Heavy D and Andre Harrell. He also denied the accusation that he tried to kill Al B. Sure. More specifically, this statement doesn't just cover the deaths and murders that appeared in the Peacock doc or in other rumors surrounding Sean Combs. He also addressed sex trafficking claims against him. A jury found Combs not guilty of sex trafficking charges back in July, although they convicted him of charges of transportation to engage in prostitution. I did not have sex with or sex traffic underage girls, the sworn statement reportedly reads. I have never used sex tapes as a means to extort or influence anyone. So that is his statement. Yeah, it was a defamation lawsuit saying, hey, you guys are accusing me of this and that. A lot of people have released Diddy documentaries, right? A lot have. TMZ was actually one of the first ones to drop one, and then you got Peacock dropping theirs, Netflix dropping theirs. Why he felt compelled to go after this one specifically, maybe they're just spreading a lot more false information versus the other ones that are probably just going off of, what they can prove to be close to being true, right? There's only so much that there is proof that Diddy did, whatever he did. Right, the only solid evidence is the one with Cassie, the hotel footage. That's it. That's as clear as day that you can't deny that he at least was involved in some domestic violence and abusing Cassie. So if he's willing to do that to Cassie, then clearly he's willing to do that to other women. So all the stories of the women getting beat by him, I always believed. After that Cassie video, I just flat out believe it. If you're willing to do that in the middle of a hotel lobby, not a lobby but a hallway, then and you're potentially somebody could have came up at that actual, hallway through the elevator, and they could have caught you doing that. Then clearly you're willing in private to do a lot more. So that's the way I look at it in terms of Diddy. But everything else, accusations of this, that, he did this with this, I don't know. At the end of the day, there's no proof of it. There's accusations. But yeah, he just got, and he hasn't been charged with that officially ever. He just got charged with, racketeering or whatever, engage in prostitution or transportation to engage in prostitution. That's what he's been charged with. Literally just hiring, women to have fun with him. That's it. That's what he's been charged with. So, yeah, we'll see what happens moving forward. And, maybe this lawsuit gets dropped, or who knows, maybe they settle it, because Diddy needs some type of money to be fending off all these other lawsuits that are still at him. I think he has 60 still left, or 70 lawsuits still left his way that he has to fight. So We'll see what happens. Updates on Lil Durk's murder for hire trial. And it looks like the prosecutors are trying to push forward in using Lil Durk's music to prosecute him. So let's go over this. Lil Durk continues to go through a lot of legal hurdles in his murder for hire trial, such as recent accusations from prosecutors that he placed a $1 million hit on Quando Rondo. Not only that, but federal attorneys are also fighting to keep his music as evidence in the trial, which his defense lawyers strongly argued against. According to an exclusive All Hip Hop report, the government compared the Chicago's artist Only the Family Collective to Liberia's anti-terrorism units, ATU, in the late 1990s and early 2000s, nicknamed the Demon Forces. Its commander was Chucky Taylor, the son of the country's former President Charles Taylor Sr. A federal court in Florida sentenced Taylor Jr. to 97 years in the United States federal prison after convicting him of violent torture and abusers in Liberia from 1999 to 2003. But how is this relevant to Lil Durk's case? Federal prosecutors brought up Chucky Taylor's case because when U.S. agents arrested him in Miami over a fake passport, they found notes of rap lyrics referencing ATU. These reportedly include, "Take this for free, 6 feet is where you're going to be. ATU guys on the scene. Body bag is all you see. And more sweat in my training means less blood in my life. So with the shots from the guns, keep it dead and precise. Bulldoze ambushes in the midst of a fight. Damn, try cutting my supply, you'll be losing your life." Damn, you got some bars in that bitch. Free him, bro. I need some gangster music like that. I'm just trolling. But the judge in Taylor's case ruled that the lyrics were very relevant to his trial. Prosecutors referenced the lyrics in court, and a conviction followed. Damn. So somebody actually got convicted because of lyrics. With this president in mind, prosecutors' allegations against Lil Durk, in their view, make certain lyrics and videos of his highly crucial to the case. They believe similar music admissions to Chucky Taylor's case, whom also face accusations of directing and orchestrating violence, are presented in Durk's material. Some lines that prosecutors highlighted reportedly include the following: "Popping traffic, we in Cali ride through Beverly Hills with the choppers, bounty hunter. For the guys who can carry, I'll buy them 50K in guns. Don't respond to shit with Vaughn. I'm like, fuck you tripping, go and get your gun. They dropping locations, I'm getting it done. Fuck tweets, we sliding the feds. Let's go." Yeah, I know, I remember that record. That's a fire record. And a line about being the type to hop on a flight with a warrant, allegedly mirroring the story of October 2024 arrest. Yeah, the trial begins April 21st, 2026, man, which is roughly, 2.5 months away? A little over 2.5 months. Hopefully it doesn't get delayed. Hopefully it actually starts, and I will cover it as much as I can. I will try to be on it like literally ASAP and see, what the hell's going on, because I'm a fan of Lil Durk's music, man, especially his recent run. When he was first blowing up, I was a fan of him. Then he had this fall off kind of period where he was just making like female driven records, and I just didn't care to listen to it. I think it was from like 2014 to like 2018, 2019. And then in 2020, he started having like another run, or at least in 2019 to 2020, obviously now 2025, he's had his own, another good run that I enjoyed. And the sad part is like, I started enjoying his music when he started talking more about the gangsta shit. Like when he got to the female stuff, I just didn't really care. Not to say that he can't make good female records, because he has some records that are dope, but like an artist can still rap about the gangsta stuff without doing gangsta things anymore, man. Just talk about your previous past life, man. Talk about other people's experiences as well. You don't have to be doing the gang shit, rapping about the gang shit anymore. Like, but hey, man, it just is what it is. These artists don't seem to get that through their head. They feel like they got to have 1 foot in, 1 foot out. But yeah, we'll see what happens, man. Crazy, crazy thing. We'll see if these lyrics actually stand up. If they say the judge decides to actually keep him in the trial, that's going to be some pretty good evidence against Lil Durk. That's going to be something that, the jurors are definitely going to weigh in on it, but we'll see. J. Cole has revealed the reason why his Fall Off album has become a double disc. This album's going to come out on February 6th, which is ironically the anniversary of Get Rich or Die Trying. That's when that came out. I can't wait for the album. It's going to be a double disc, and J. Cole basically talks about why. And the interesting thing is it became a double disc after the Drake and Kendrick beef. So let's go over this article. J. Cole is continuing to peel back the layers behind the Fall Off. Now he's offering fans more insight into how the long-awaited project transformed into a double album. The update arrives as listeners are still replaying Birthday Blizzard 26, a surprise EP Cole dropped just ahead of its ahead of his 41st birthday. The release has reignited excitement around the fall off, which is set to arrive next week. In a recent Instagram post, J. Cole revealed the fall off was not always intended to be a two-part project. According to Cole, the album's scope expanded after a period of intense reflection tied to the highly publicized tension between Kendrick Lamar and Drake. The moment also coincided with his decision to step back from the feud entirely, including his choice to publicly walk away from the 7-minute drill during Dreamville Fest in 2024. However, 2 years ago, after the events that still fed the algorithm to this day, I became incredibly re-inspired, and the album slowly blossomed into a double disc as the concept expanded, Cole wrote. Rather than shrinking creatively, Cole says the experience pushed him in the opposite direction. The album slowly grew as ideas took shape, eventually becoming a double disc as the concept deepened. Alongside the reflection, Cole also unveiled a second cover for the fall off. The original artwork, a photo of his teenage bedroom setup taken on disposal camera, has been tied to the project for years. It represents where everything began, including his earliest beats, writing sessions, and his first full song he ever completed. That image, he explained, still holds deep personal meaning and remains central to the album's identity. However, with the project now spanning 2 discs, Cole felt it needed an additional visual that reflected who he is at this moment. I felt there should be an additional cover that represented that, Cole explained, something just as strong as the first with my face on it, so that when I look back in 20 years, I could see an image of who I was at the time I released the project. This is why I say artists should have their faces on album covers, because it's a better way of like time capsuling that moment. I hate, and this is something that Drake made, I don't know, cool, because he just drops these fucking shitty ass album covers. I mean, very garbage album covers. Since Certified Lover Boy, it's been horrible album covers. I really, really advocate for the artist to be in the front of the album cover. I like that old school approach. I think it's the best look because it's original. It's you. I mean, you can easily put text and, animate things and shit like that, but it's just, I don't mind like sometimes when it's art of like creative, like Kanye West's Graduation, right? Like that's a great album cover. It's something unique. I don't mind it sometimes when it's like that, but I do advocate mainly for the artist to be on the album cover because I think it does capture a moment in time. Like imagine if Give Rich or Die Trying wasn't 50, in that pose or in that photo. It was just like 2 quarters, right? Like that would be fucking garbage. Like just, that would be shitty album cover. But yeah, there's a lot of album covers that without the person in front of the cover, it would be horrible. But yeah, I can't wait. I hope this means that J. Cole doesn't turn into basically a little girl, right? Let's put it in nice terms. I hope this inspired him to like actually go at some artists. Because you can't have, so I saw an actual tweet about this, and I wish I could credit this person, but basically, there's 2 ways this could go. Either J. Cole took back, because all that bars about him being the best after the Drake and Kendrick beef, that's probably because he probably planned to release that album like that year. But that Drake and Kendrick thing happened, he jumped out there, and then he retracted, and then people were like, we don't want to hear from Cole. He's a little girl for, not wanting to battle. So he either motivate him to change the whole album and be like, hey, I'm not going to have this tough guy talk of I'm the best. Or it did the opposite, where it made him even double down and talk even more disrespectful after that. I hope it's the opposite, where he gets more on his shit, where he actually directly addresses people. That would be something that would be new from J. Cole, and he's never had that main battle. So maybe it might be a battle with him and Drake or him and Kendrick directly after that. So I don't know. But regardless, if he goes the route of like pulling everything back, it's just not going to sound as cool, and people are just kind of going to be like, this is your last album. It's all right. There's a lot of things that J. Cole usually raps about, which I appreciate, but there's too much. It's just like Drake, right? There's too much tied to their recent projects that are coming out. Right now for J. Cole, there's a lot tied into, is this guy, like he's talking all this big talk about being the best rapper, but he can't even lay his nuts on the table, so to say, right? With Drake, it's tied to like, can he still make great music after Kendrick did what he did? So they're both, J. Cole and Drake are both in this position of like, they have to quote unquote prove themselves again in the hip hop world. Kendrick is just riding a wave of winning. That's all he's done. I mean, the guy just fucking won like 10 more Grammys last night. So he's on this wave of just winning. He's proved himself on the mainstream field, hip hop field, battle tested, all this stuff. So yeah, Cole and Drake are kind of in a weird space right now where they got to figure out how to execute their next solo projects. And I think J. Cole has already kind of figured out how he wants to do it because he's got the release date. Drake is kind of in between of things because of the lawsuit and all this stuff. So Yeah, I just can't wait to listen to it. I would love to do a live stream, but a double disc, that shit gonna be so damn long that I'm gonna be up till like 3 a.m, man. But yeah, I'll give my thoughts on it. I'll review the album, all that stuff, and yeah, we'll see what happens. It's the motherfucking game. So he has dropped a deluxe version of the mixtape that he released. I believe it's called like Every Movie Needs a Trailer. He dropped the deluxe version of it. And on this version, he decides to call out Kendrick Lamar. So let's go over this. When it comes to iconic rappers from Compton, the game is not very far away from Kendrick Lamar, especially in a contemporary setting. But there's been a bit of friction between the two in the recent years, which the former seemed to address on his new Gangsta Grillz Deluxe EMNT. The credits. This expansion of his Every Movie Needs a Trailer project features more production from Mike and Keys and assistance from DJ Drama, as well as guest appearances from Conway the Machine, 21 Savage, Boosie Badass, and more. But many fans took note of the opening track, Whatever, which contains the K-Dot reference. So this is what he had to say. If I ain't the best rapper from Compton, it got to be Kendrick. And if Kendrick the best rapper, tell him to step it up and end it. It's the motherfucking game. While many fans interpret this negatively, there's a potential mischaracterization. After all, the praise from the one Compton rapper to another, and this step up and end it challenge might be a general rather than referencing Chuck Taylor himself. Fans always go wild over potential disses, but this seems more like a sign of competitive respect rather than outward shade. I don't like, here's the thing, man. When I say on my post, because we posted about this, we said the game disses Kendrick Lamar. Diss, challenges, calls out, whatever fucking word you want to use, bro. At the end of the day, it's a battle that needs to happen. That's it. Diss, battle. Like, I don't know why people, I think because people look at the word diss as like disrespectful. Obviously, it's short for that. So disrespecting Kendrick. Game didn't really disrespect, but he is, I mean, you call somebody out, you know, you are disrespecting. You're saying basically this guy ain't better than me. That's a disrespect. To me, I would take that as disrespect. So I don't know why people like nitpick at the words that are being used. At the end of the day, man, it's him calling him out, him dissing him, whatever the hell you want to say. At the end of the day, it's the same result. They're going to battle. He wants to battle him, and that's it. I'm all for it, but with the game's track history, at least track record, he's called out Eminem, Rick Ross, and now calling out Kendrick Lamar, and nobody's like wanted to respond to him. It's really just a guy yelling at a wall at this point, and it's sad. It really is, because the problem is Game does it so much that artists don't really take it serious anymore. Like, if you're battling, do it because you actually mean it. Don't just do it because you want to get some type of momentum for your album, because he's gearing up to drop Documentary 3. So, of course, he would go at somebody like this. That's what he did for his Drillmatic. He went at Eminem and created controversy. He's basically using the 50 Cent formula, but with no hits behind it. At least with 50, when he was calling people out, he was giving you hit records behind that. That even if the call out didn't happen or the beef didn't happen, he would still sell records. Because with 50, every album he released, besides, I want to say Animal Ambition, I think. Because you had Get Rich or Die Trying with the Ja Rule. You had The Massacre with Fat Joe, Jadakiss, Nas. He was basically going to everybody on The Massacre. Then you had Curtis with Kanye West doing the sales battle, which wasn't an official beef or diss, but it was a sales battle. He was beefing with Cameron around that time too. And then you had Before I Self-Destruct, we were beefing with Rick Ross. So 50 always had some type of beef going on, but he still gave people hit records. It wasn't just like, I'm beefing just to try to sell records. No, he was like, I'm beefing, but I'm going to give y'all a hit as well. I mean, each album had a different type of hit record on it, or multiple hit records. But with Game, it's been more like, hey, I'm just going to diss you, and I'm going to drop an album and hope that, you know, people pay attention to it. And that's it. I'm not going to give you any hits on it. There's no hit records on it. It's just music that I'm dropping, and that's it. And people don't really care about that. You know, you got to have something backing the music, you know, in order for people to be like, okay, he's dropping a hit, but he's also doing this, so it's making more controversy, more people paying attention. I highly doubt Kendrick responds. He might do it subliminally, because Kendrick is that type of artist, which I hate. He might do it subliminally. The next project he drops, whatever, it's a GNX Deluxe, or because he still previewed that one record, and then we fucking haven't heard about it since. So if he does it, he'll preview a GNX Deluxe, or just the next album, and he might end up subliminally dissing Game. If he does that, Game's going to run with that shit. He is going to, God forbid, Kendrick does that, because Game is just going to run with that shit. He's going to try to milk that as much as he can. But yeah, that's the diss. Sounded cool. The mixtape is pretty dope too. Overall, I enjoyed it. I think Game musically is no issue. There's really no problems. It's rare that he misses or that people don't like the music. It's just, you know, it's the antics around it. that's what people are tired of. But yeah, we'll see what happens moving forward. This is something that I didn't think I'd have to report on. It is something that I normally don't cover because it's out of the hip hop world, but this involves two hip hop artists that we are well aware of. And I was shocked to see this on social media. I had to make sure it was real 100% because I'm the type of person that doesn't just report on things without doing proper research. And this is 100% real in terms of it's officially from the government's website. And that is Jay-Z and Pusha T's name are involved in the Epstein files. Before I get into this, I want you guys to be able to look this up yourselves so you know I'm not lying. You go on the website justice.gov/Epstein. And then there is a search bar and you can search up Sean Carter, which is Jay-Z's real name. And it's the first document that pops up. And this is the documents that I'm going to read to you guys that pop up. So just so you guys know that this is 100% real from the government's website, from the Epstein files. There's nothing that's been, altered or, reported fake on social media. This is 100% real. So let's go over both of these documents. The documents are heavily redacted, meaning a lot of things are blurred out to protect really the victims' names and some information that they don't want the public to know. Places, locations, stuff like that, for the most part, is redacted. So let's go over the top of the document. It says Epstein, Jeffrey, child blank trafficking. You guys know what I'm talking about. The date/time this was received was on July 10th, 2019 at 8:20 in the morning. The details is this. On July 10th, 2019 at 8:20 Eastern Time, a bunch of redacted stuff called the FBI National Threat Operations Center, NTOC, to identify herself as a victim of abuse by Jeffrey Epstein and others. Blank provided the following information. In approximately 1994, a bunch of redacted information revealed herself, blank, as a past victim of sex abuse by Epstein. Blank described the abuse occurred during parties, blank. Blank further identified blank as a friend of blank. So we're assuming probably people that are of high power that decided to, or maybe people that are trying to make connections with that, people don't know and don't want, them to know. In approximately 1996, blank resided with blank in blank. An unknown man abducted blank from her home, whence she later awoke in presence of Harvey Weinstein and Sean Carter. And then it shows in quotations Jay-Z. While Weinstein had inserted his fingers into, you guys can use your imagination on that, blank believed she was in Epstein's mansion in Florida. So just from this, we're getting that what she alleges is that Jay-Z was there with Harvey Weinstein, that she saw both of them together. I don't know if she said she assumed that she was in Epstein's mansion in Florida. Continuing on, blank estimated she was abducted on 7 occasions, awaking each time in an opulent indoor setting. Blank suffered from abuse on multiple of those occasions in which Epstein participated. Blank recalled Leon Black and William Barr, current United States Attorney General, being present during some of the accusations of abuse. In approximately 2006, blank recalled being abused by Epstein. And then the page continues, it says, on each occasion. Blank believed she was drugged, clouding her memory. Blank attributed the drugging as frequently performed by persons assigned as handlers. Now, this is where another rapper who right now is signed to Rock Nation. That's the crazy part. Him and his brother, Malice Clips, which is Pusha T, are both signed to Rock Nation, and they just dropped their album through Rock Nation. Blank attributed the drugging as frequently performed by persons assigned as handlers, when she described as persons who established friendships with the victims. Among her handlers, blank identified the artist Pusha T. Mind you, this was in 2006 when she's talking about this. Then in approximately 2007, blank attended a party, blank, following invitation from an unknown man who approached her as she walked down the street. Weinstein and Pusha T also attended the party and drugged her before engaging in abuse. Blank claimed to have additional information of other persons involved in the enterprise and information related to racketeering conducted in support of the trafficking. Blank further believed she was under surveillance and stalked at the direction of the people involved in the abuse. Blank confirmed she was not diagnosed with any mental illness. blank refused to provide her physical address, advising that she maintained no permanent address. Rather, she moved between staying at different hotels. And that's what the documents say. Now, I know everybody's going to have their own, take on this. For me personally, I believe from 1994 to 1996, she might have been a minor around that time. That's what I'm getting. And then once she got to 2006, 2007, she was just a minor that grew into adult, and they just kept, doing things to that person. Now, this is an accusation at the end of the day. Let's keep that in mind. An accusation isn't solid, proof or evidence. Anybody can be accused of anything. I'm not saying that to defend anybody in this at all, because if you're in Epstein files, it's not a good look at all. But let's keep that in mind, that an accusation is an accusation. Unless they release like solid evidence and proof, this was just stuff reported that was called in saying, hey, I got, abused by this person and this person. Do with that information what you will. I know Jay-Z has been dragged a lot by social media as being involved with a lot of crazy things. Although there hasn't been any solid proof or evidence, he was very close to Diddy. Diddy has done a lot of things, and there's been actually some solid evidence when it comes to Diddy. And obviously he's locked up right now with it. So anybody that was really that close, I mean, he would hang out with Diddy as if they were brothers. And I think Diddy at one point called him a brother. So at that point, when you're associated with somebody like that and you hang out with that person that often, and they had literally parties every single year, it makes sense that people associate that person with what Diddy did, because if you're surrounded by that person all the time, people are just going to assume you're doing the same thing. And the interesting thing is Pusha T, Malice, just recently signed a distribution deal with Roc Nation, which is Jay-Z's record label. They released their album Let God Sort 'Em Out through there, and now they're nominated with a bunch of Grammys, and they're going to perform at the Grammys. That's a crazy time to have this released as they're doing these Grammys performance and stuff. I say all that to say, we have no idea. This is just documents that the government released officially. Like I said, no solid proof. If the government releases photos, maybe videos, I don't know. There's been a lot of accusations thrown out. Some things with solid evidence with like emails that are tied to real email addresses with timing and all this stuff. Some of those look a little bit more official versus this, which is, I believe, somebody calling in and reporting that they've been, from on July 10th, 2019. So this is years. So she reported an event happening in 1994, 1996, 2006, and 2007. So this is 4 separate times where the first one in 1994, it was just Epstein that she's talking about. In 1996, this is where she mentions the most people. She says Harvey Weinstein as well as Jay-Z. And then she mentions Leon Black and William Barr, which is the current United States Attorney General, which is crazy. You got United States' Attorney Generals being named in these things, which is like, yeah, these files are like, if none of this stuff was redacted, like I just don't know. It's insane. And then obviously in 2006, she mentions Epstein as well as the handler, which is Pusha T. That's where he gets involved. And in 2006, Pusha T was a pretty big artist at that time. I mean, Clips was doing their run with Pharrell again. I believe they released Mr. Me Too, which is a huge record, and they were just having their run as well. And then in 2007, she also mentions Weinstein and Pusha T again. But yeah, that's the files. They are real as I can get. I mean, you can look this up unless the DOJ decides to just remove these files, which they have kind of redacted some stuff and taken it out and put it back in. And, so it's all over the place. But if you go to justice.gov/Epstein, you search in Sean Carter, these documents pop up. So it is real as day. Let me know what you guys think. I know some artists are going to have a field day with this. I know Drake had his own issues with Pusha T. I would not be surprised if somehow Drake comments on this. And then, of course, 50 Cent has always attacked Jay-Z in one way or another. So I wouldn't be surprised if he commented on this. I'm not going to be surprised. Like, I just want to see what the hip-hop world, how they react to all this stuff. And I want to see if Pusha T or Jay-Z even address this, or if they just ignore it and hope that people just forget and it goes away. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but that's the report. I'm shocked just as much as you guys. and I will keep you guys updated if something new comes out. 50 Cent has decided to weigh in on the Jay-Z Epstein files that got released, which was no matter of time. I mean, this guy is immediately on it. He was a little late. He even admits it on the Instagram, but he has weighed in and he has revealed that he wants to do a documentary relating to it. If you're out of the loop, the DOJ, aka the Department of Justice, decided to release a bunch of files relating to Epstein because a lot of people have been asking for it, and they just dropped a bunch. I don't even know how much. I think it's over 10,000 or something like that. And with those files were a lot of names that were mentioned from celebrities. There's quite a few names in there. There's actually 50 Cent's name is in there, Eminem. There's quite a few, but it's really the context of what their names are mentioned and what they're about. And for Jay-Z and Pusha T, the context was really, really bad. If you don't know the full details of it, check my last video. I break it down of the actual document and go over, what was said, blah, blah, blah. Basically, the gist of it is there was an FBI tip by someone that called in and said that, hey, from 1994 till 2007, there was Epstein involved in 1994 of doing bad things to that woman. And then in 1996, there was Harvey Weinstein with Jay-Z involved in Epstein's house. And then in 2006 and 2007, the victim alleges that Pusha T was a handler of her alongside Harvey Weinstein when she went to these parties and events. So this is just an allegation. This is just a tip. There is no solid proof that this is real, but this is something that was put in the FBI documents and files. And because the first tip was in 1994 that involved Epstein, it also got included in the Epstein files. With that being said, of course, the internet went crazy and everybody started having their own theories because Jay-Z has been tied a lot to Diddy because they were close friends when Diddy, before all the Diddy stuff happened. And then, of course, Jay-Z was really close to R. Kelly, who's also locked up for a lot of crazy stuff. And because of all those ties, the internet basically connected the dots and have basically looked at Jay-Z in a different light. They view him as somebody that could potentially be a part of this stuff. And there hasn't been really any solid evidence yet, but people are assuming that because he was close to Diddy, because he was close to R. Kelly at certain points, that he has something to do with all the stuff that's going on with Epstein, with Diddy, with R. Kelly, whatever, all those people that do those crazy stuff. Same with Harvey Weinstein, who was really close to Jay-Z at a certain point as well. With that being said, 50 Cent, though, reacted to it, and this is what he had to say on Instagram. He posted 2 photos of Jay-Z, and in the caption he says, "Damn, they got your man Jay in the Epstein files. I got to do a doc on this." There you go. Off the rip, he's already thinking about doing a documentary on Jay-Z. Now, here's the kind of issue with that. And I know it sounds exciting, and it's 50 has these type of moments where he'll just say some stuff. The issue with it, there isn't any solid evidence yet. If 50 can get these victims and can get more evidence and actually piece them together, then yeah, a documentary would be explosive. It would be the biggest thing ever, and it would definitely take down Jay-Z, just like Surviving R. Kelly took down R. Kelly. He would have to get a lot of people that just have been abused by him or, have more solid proof and evidence and all this stuff in order for a documentary to even make sense. And then he made a second post in which he deleted, and he posted a photo of Jay-Z's Harvey Weinstein appear in DOJ's latest Epstein files dump, which is a news report from the New York Post. And the caption says, "I know I'm late on this, but this is kind of crazy. What do you do to get thrown in that mix?" So he's asking, what the heck did Jay-Z get involved in to be thrown in that mix? With that being said, that's a good question from 50. At what point, how do you get involved in these things with people accusing you? There has to be at a certain point where there's a bunch of smoke, there has to be fire. So I think down a certain line, I hope it's not true because, anybody getting abused is not something that anybody should be cheering. I know a lot of people don't like Jay-Z, but there are people out there that are hoping that this is true just so Jay-Z can be, destroyed. And to me, it's like you're hoping that a victim gets victimized, or it's true that the victim got victimized just because of one person. You want to see them have their downfall. That's crazy in my eyes. But there are people out there that are like that. So we don't know. There's no solid proof of anything. But 50 Cent, hey, if he's actually going to do a documentary, he might actually hire people, investigators, to look into all this stuff and see what is going on. Because that's the question that a lot of people have when it relates to Jay-Z. What is going on? There's a lot of smoke surrounding his name. We haven't found the fire yet, but there's a lot of smoke surrounding his name. And a lot of people are raising their eyebrows saying, hey, Is this guy involved? What is, what he's been tied close to Diddy. Now he was tied close to R. Kelly. He was tied close to Harvey Weinstein. These are three individuals that have all been locked up for something relating to abuse or, whatever the case may be. Now, what's interesting is academics reshared that 50 Cent post. And in the caption, he said this: "Dang, Fifth finna delete this one. I heard lawsuits are already flying, allegedly." And he did delete it. That was actually the post that he actually deleted. And what's crazy about this post is Pusha T liked it. So apparently Jay-Z is going around threatening to sue people for, talking about this post, and especially big public figures. I mean, that's why in my post, I say, hey, there's no solid proof. This is all allegations. And that's the reality situation. It's all allegations. There's no solid proof Jay-Z did any of this stuff. And that's the thing. If there's no solid proof, anybody can be accused of anything. This is somebody who called in 2019 and basically said, hey, this is what my recounts of 1994, 1996, 2006, and 2007, these are my recounts of what happened. And these are the people that happened, to do something to me. With that being said, let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think 50 Cent is actually going to, hire investigators, have people look into Jay-Z and potentially make a documentary so that he could, take down Jay-Z's career and basically have the whole public turn on him? Or do you guys think 50 Cent is just trolling and he's just reacting like the rest of the internet? Because the rest of the internet is, throwing all kinds of allegations out there. And some of the stuff actually holds weight, though. So let's not, skip over everything. But some of it is just, stuff to just entertain people and just have people talking at the end of the day. So be very weary of the internet. It can get very tricky out there. There's landmines of people spreading fake information, fake news, just to push certain narratives of artists they don't like. So just watch out for that. But let me know what you guys think. Is this going to happen? Is there going to be a Jay-Z documentary? Is there a potential of Jay-Z, more stuff being revealed relating to Jay-Z? I don't know. And let's talk about the 2026 Grammys. Kendrick Lamar has surpassed Jay-Z, which Jay-Z has been the biggest when it comes to Grammys and awards that have won. He has officially surpassed him. So let's go over what awards he won and how much he has in total and what to expect moving forward. So before last night, Jay-Z was the one who held the most Grammys ever at 25 Grammys won with 89 nominations in total. But as of last night, Kendrick Lamar has officially surpassed that. Kendrick Lamar before last night was a winner of 22 Grammys. As of last night, though, Kendrick Lamar won 5 new Grammys, which puts him at 27 Grammys in total, which surpasses Jay-Z's 25 by 2. So let's go over which Grammys he won to make him surpass Jay-Z. He won a Grammy for Record of the Year, Luther with SZA. He won a Grammy for Best Rap Performance, which was Chains and Whips with Clips, Pusha T, Malice, and it featured Kendrick Lamar and Pharrell Williams. By the way, shout out to Clips. That is their first Grammy ever. He won a Grammy for Best Melodic Rap Performance, Luther, Kendrick Lamar with SZA. He also won a Grammy for Best Rap Song, which is TV Off. And he won the Grammy for Best Rap Album with G&X. So that was 5 Grammys last night. Is officially now the rapper with the most Grammys ever. Congratulations to Kendrick Lamar. Now, we'll see if Jay-Z decides to come out of retirement and drop a new album in hopes that he wins another Grammy to try to take that title back. But I highly doubt that will happen. I think Jay-Z's kind of had his run. And maybe, I don't know, man. Jay-Z's competitive. Kanye West is at number 3 in this with 24 wins. If we're going down the list, Eminem's at 15 wins. Pharrell Williams at 13 wins, but that's gone up by 1 because he won the Chains and Whips. So he is, he hasn't changed his position, but he's there. Andre 3000 is at 9 wins. Anderson .Paak at 9 wins. Lauryn Hill is at 8 wins. Dr. Dre is at 7 wins. Outkast is at 6. And that's really about it. There's been a lot of artists who have never won Grammys, like Snoop Dogg, DMX, Tupac, Biggie. 50 barely won one. It was because of Eminem's Crack a Bottle that he actually got one. Other than that, he's never won a Grammy. So there have been a lot of artists that just haven't won. So I don't really put a lot of weight into the Grammy Awards or any awards show. At the end of the day, the way I view it is just a bunch of rich people handing each other awards. These people should not dictate what you listen to when it comes to music. You should not look to these people for their opinions. Like the music you like, regardless if they win an award or not. Who cares at the end of the day? I don't really care about the award shows. I haven't since probably mid-2010s, probably 2014, 2015. Ever since then, I was just like, why do I care about some rich Hollywood people giving each other awards. I could care less. Regardless, though, for the artists, I guess it's something that it means to them, to certain artists. Certain artists don't really care. But yeah, shout out to Kendrick Lamar for becoming the rapper with the most Grammys ever officially. New music, let's get into it. Tory Lanez dropped Slutty Bass, 2 singles. The Baby dropped Be More Grateful, the album. Don Toliver dropped Octane album. Rod Wave dropped Feed the Streets. J. Cole, Birthday Blizzard, obviously the mixtape. Fredo and Burna Boy dropped Birthday. Wiz Khalifa dropped Moses the Black soundtrack, the album. Mike Will Made It and Sway Lee dropped the Rockstar Raging record. Benny the Butcher dropped Squeeze First. Dave East dropped Traffic. Bobby O'Foreign dropped Rap Trap, which is actually a diss towards 21 Savage and pretty much all of Atlanta. And that's it for song releases or new hip-hop records that came out. Album sales, let's get into it, man. I got to see this. I haven't seen this in a fat minute. Who is the fuck is this? Megadeth dropped the self-titled Megadeth album, debuted at number 1 with 72,000 sold first week. Morgan Wallen dropped I'm the Problem with 69,000 sold at number 2. Number 3, Olivia Dean, The Art of Loving, 50,000 sold. Number 4, Zach Bryan with Heaven on Top, 48,000 sold. Number 5, Taylor Swift, The Life of a Showgirl with 45,000 sold. A$AP Rocky, number 6 with Don't Be Dumb at 45,000 sold. Number 7, NBA YoungBoy, Slime Cry with 41,000 sold. K-Pop Demon Hunters soundtrack, number 8 with 40,000 sold. Bad Bunny, TPR Mas Photos, whatever the hell. He won a Grammy for that album. Shout out to him. And number 9 with 36,000 sold. SZA SOS, number 10 with 34,000 sold. Going down the list, Drake Take Care, number 18 with 23,000 sold. That's crazy. Old ass album, still doing numbers. Fetty Wap self-titled album at number 28 with 19,000 sold. EST Kid Rebel, number 29 with 18,000 sold. Drake Views, number 30 with 18,000 sold. Party Next Door and Drake Some Sexy Songs for number 31 with 18,000 sold. Cardi B Am on the Drama, number 37 with 17,000 sold. Kendrick Lamar GNX, number 42 with 15,000 sold. Gunna, The Last One, number 44 with 15,000 sold. BX The Plug, I Hope You're Happy, number 46 with 15,000 sold. And that is it for album sales. And that is it for today's episode of the Diverse Mentality Podcast. As always, stream us Spotify, Podcast, Deezer, all that. Have an amazing night and day whenever you listen to us, and peace.